Thank you very much for allowing me to come here today and to tell the country what happened to my son.
I got a phone call from the FBI. They said, well, we need to see you immediately, right away. Something bad happened.
Andy's been shot.
I hear about 6, 7 loud bangs. I come running across the street, and there's a white male and a black male, and they both are in Army fatigues. And they're both shot real bad.
23-year-old Private William Long of Conway was killed. 18-year-old Private Quentin Ezequiel seriously injured when police say a suspect in a black SUV drove by, opening fire.
I got to the medical center. I went in there and I asked them, where's the emergency room? They pointed to this other room. And I'd been to emergency rooms before and never really thought about what the little privacy room was for. And they took me into the privacy room. They told me Andy had passed away.
Carlos Bledsoe was an all-American kid raised in a loving family. Melvin Bledsoe is a Memphis native who has owned the Blue City Tour Company in Memphis for the past 22 years. While Carlos was growing up in Memphis, William Long, known to all as Andy, was a high-spirited boy growing up as the son of Darius Long, a Marine officer. Both boys grew up and went on different paths that were destined to converge.
He was going off to better himself, education-wise. He went to school to take up business administration in Nashville. Little did we know that he would get involved with a religion that would turn his life upside down.
When Carlos came to Nashville, the city was becoming a center for Islamist extremist activity. Their reach had just expanded to Carlos's college, Tennessee State University, and other campuses, just as Carlos was beginning his studies. An Islamic organization called Olive Tree Education Foundation was offering classes on Islam on the TSU campus.
In university settings, even though they're secular, they've been influenced by Islamist financing. They've been influenced by Islamist groups within their universities.
Olive Tree was founded by Awad bin Hazim, a Kenyan immigrant and the vice president at the Islamic Center of Nashville. At one time, its website had promoted the teachings of the al-Qaeda terrorist leader Anwar al-Awlaki, the son of a Yemeni immigrant to the U.S. Awad bin Hazim is also the Muslim chaplain at Vanderbilt University. He has delivered many sermons on Islam at various Nashville colleges. Some of these sermons have raised concerns.
Muslims have a problem with westernization. The Sharia is a complete way of life of Muslims. The Muslims' desire to implement the Sharia in the end is one of their manifestations of their desire to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Bin Hazim's partner at Olive Tree was Abdul Hakim Mohammed, the Imam of the Islamic Center of Nashville, who also taught at Carlos's college.
This country will not be the richest country on earth because it is the worst country on earth.
Carlos began to frequent Abdul Hakim Mohammed's mosque and took his name when he converted to Islam. The Imam preached contempt for Jews and Christians at the Nashville mosque.
Tomorrow, they'll celebrate Christmas, assuming that Christ is a God or a son of God. There is no greater lie than this. The greatest lie of all time.
I mean, the Jews believe that everyone that's created on the face of earth was only created for their service. The true evil today is the existence of one state.
Aren't we this near from a mass battle and war against the Jews?
Imams at other Nashville mosques also give radical sermons. This is Imam Abdullah Al-Ansari of the Islamic Center of Tennessee Mega Mosque.
He told us to fight the Jews and Christians. Fight them until they give al-jizya. They give this protective tax from their hands and they are humiliated and subdued. If Islam, and true Muslims do not rule, there will never be justice.
They have perhaps sized him up and saw that he was young, impressionable, for the teaching of the radicalization and indoctrination of the extremist Islam that has been so widely spreaded throughout Nashville.
After converting to Islam, Carlos traveled to Yemen. There, he claims to have joined Anwar al-Awlaki's al-Qaeda branch and received terrorist training. He was eventually arrested for overstaying his tourist visa and deported back to the United States.
After he was released to come back to America, he was told to do something, that he must do something for Allah.
Soon after returning to Memphis, Carlos moved 150 miles west to Little Rock to expand the family business. However, once he was living alone, he began planning his own personal jihad. Carlos, now Abdul Hakim Mujahid Muhammad, traveled around the country identifying targets in a car loaded with arms and ammunition. Carlos targeted the Jewish community and attempted to firebomb a rabbi's house.
Luckily, this terrorist didn't have his act together completely, because what he had done could have been a lot worse. So we're lucky.
Andy Long, meanwhile, had been on his own journey.
He decided to make some changes in his life, and part of that was to join the Army. He found out he liked it, he was good at it, he enjoyed it, and he came out taller, stronger, and prouder. Looking forward to being stationed in Korea. He had gone home to do recruiting duty so that he could have some leave time with his family before getting shipped off.
The guy opened fire. He killed one soldier, hurt another. Just this morning, this suspect, you see him there, went before a judge. He was born Carlos Bledsoe, but converted to Islam and changed his name to Abdul Hakim Muhammad.
This did not come from something that he learned growing up. This is not the son we raised. This is not Carlos. This is Abdul Hakim.
Since the attack, Melvin and Darius have been speaking about what happened to their sons in Nashville and Little Rock. In 2001, they were invited to join Congressman Peter King's hearings on homegrown Islamic radicalization in America.
I've lain awake through my wife's nightmares when she relives being 50 feet away while Andy and Quentin were shot. My family kept silent for over 2 years. We will not be silent again.
Some congressmen dismiss Melvin and Darius's testimony.
Well, I think these anecdotes are interesting. I don't believe these are experts.
What you both have gone through is interesting, the word you'd use to describe it?
No, I think I would use it to describe it as a tragedy. We're worried about stepping on their toes, and they're talking about stamping us out.
The enemy is the ideology, the political ideology of violent Islamist extremism. The Department of Defense is still not prepared to call the enemy what it is.
Is Al-Qaeda, can it be described as being an exponent of violent Islamist extremism?
Al-Qaeda is a violent organization dedicated to overthrowing the values that we intend to advance.
Yes or no?
Can I hear the question again? I'll make it as clear as I can. We are not at war with Islam.
I didn't ask that.
It is
I did not ask that, sir. I asked whether we're at war with violent Islamist extremism. That's my question.
No. I don't believe it's helpful to frame our adversary as Islamic.
There are a variety of reasons why I think people have taken these actions.
But radical Islam could have been one of the reasons?
There are a variety of reasons why people...
But was radical Islam one of them?
There are a variety of reasons why people do these things.
Are you uncomfortable attributing any of their actions to radical Islam? It sounds like
No, I don't want to say anything negative about a religion.
I don't think it was murder, because murder is when a person kills another person without justified reason. And I thought what I did was Islamic justified, and also justifies, common sense,
The Department of Justice refused to bring terrorism charges against Carlos. The Army refused to accept that Andy's murder was an act of international Islamic terrorism and denied Andy the Purple Heart.
He wore these when he took 4 rounds of 7.62 ammo from about 3 feet. On it, there's the warrior ethos. The last line of it is, "I will never leave a fallen comrade." Well, the Army left him.
Wake up. He was not randomly shot by some person who snapped. He was targeted because of the uniform he wore.
Carlos's change from a middle-class Baptist youth to an Islamic extremist who murdered Andy Long reflects a systemic failure of key institutions in our society. Tennessee State University and Vanderbilt University knowingly allow Islamic radicals on campus to preach an extremist form of Islam. Just like the universities, Nashville's civic and religious leaders uncritically embraced the Islamic radicals, validating them to the community at large. The Nashville media refused to investigate radical Muslims while attacking their critics' motivations.
Perhaps we can save more people's lives if the American people know what's going on, know what happened. In my son's case, it shouldn't happen to anyone. It's the saddest day in my life.
When Abdul Hakim Mujahid Muhammad was arrested, Mr. Bledsoe lost his son. My heart hurts for them, and I know he said his heart hurts for us, but his pain is going to be longer, and it's going to get worse. As long as this country doesn't recognize what's going on, as long as they allow this stuff to go and turn a blind eye to it when it's just out there to see, I can't bury my son.
I want to be able to say this to the American people and to the world. It happened to my son today. Tomorrow, your son.
I hope, and I say this with all my heart, I hope that you will get this documentary, Losing Our Sons, watch it. Get your friends, your family to see it. It opened my eyes to some things, and I thought I was fairly informed. And it is powerful. It is a gut punch.